What if I told you the biggest thing standing between you and your goals is you? That the missed deadlines, skipped workouts, and texts you didn't send weren't laziness or your lack of discipline. It's your brain's way of keeping you safe by keeping you small. Self-sabotage is when we get in the way of our own goals, consciously or unconsciously. It's dreaming of success, but avoiding the opportunities to get there. It's because your brain has learned that failure, rejection, and disappointment hurt. So it tries to avoid them, even if it costs you the future that you want. Self-sabotage is often a survival mechanism, tied to the fear of failure, rejection, or even success. Research shows that people engage in self-handicapping to protect their self-esteem from the blow of failing despite effort. So your brain is actually trying to protect itself from the pain of the unknown. Hi, I'm Jasmine, and welcome to my channel. Here we talk about things all psychology, theories, studies, psychologists, all backed by psychological research. If that sounds like something you're interested in, don't forget to like and subscribe. I also have plenty of other videos for you to choose from, just like this one. But for now, let's talk about self-sabotage and why it might be linked to your fear of success. So, why we self-sabotage? The psychology of fear. So what if I told you that self-sabotage is actually rooted in fear? The fear of failing, the fear of succeeding and not being able to maintain it, and the fear of being fully seen and still not being enough. Psychologists have studied this. In fact, in 1978, Jones and Burglas coined this term self-handicapping, where we create obstacles for ourselves so we have an excuse if we fail. It's not just about procrastination or distraction, it's protection. Because if we never try our best, we never have to face the possibility that our best wasn't enough. Self-sabotage is a way of preserving your self-worth, and the fear is often rooted in what is called fear of failure, an intense worry that failing means you're flawed or unworthy. So instead of risking real failure, your brain quietly opts out. You scroll, you delay, you make yourself busy with everything except the thing that matters. Your brain actually believes it's helping you because it'd rather feel safe than risk feeling stuck, than being vulnerable or visible. Fear of failure is often linked with perfectionism, imposter syndrome, and even achievement avoidance, especially when your self-worth is tied to performance. An example of this might be you avoid submitting your work because it's not quite ready. You ghost a new opportunity, even when it's something you want, because you're scared it might not work out. You aim low to avoid disappointment. Fear says, if I don't try, I can't fail. But growth replies, if I don't try, I'll never truly know. You're not broken for struggling to show up. You're just trying to protect yourself in the only way you know how. There are other ways, safer, softer, and much more exciting ones. We'll explore those next. So, rewiring the pattern. You don't break self-sabotage with success. You break it with awareness and small repeated actions of self-trust. And here's how psychology can help you change the script. Number 1, rewire the internal dialogue. Your thoughts shape your actions, and according to cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT, our thoughts, feelings, and behaviors are deeply interconnected. So instead of letting your inner critique run the show, you practice challenging those automatic thoughts. An example of thought reframe. Old thought. If I try and fail, I'll look stupid. New thought. If I try, I learn, and learning is not failing. Number 2, exposure equals confidence. Psychologist Albert Bandra called this self-efficiency, the belief in your ability to succeed through action. The more you face what scares you, the more confident your brain becomes that you can handle it. For an entire video about how to build confidence using psychology, I'll link it in the IV and down below. You don't build confidence waiting to be ready. You build it by showing up scared and realizing you survived. An example of this might be going to the class, even though you feel awkward, saying yes to a new opportunity, even if you feel scared. Confidence isn't a personality trait, it's a skill that you practice. Number 3, replace self-criticism with self-compassion. According to Dr. Kristen Neff, self-compassion leads to greater motivation, emotional resilience, and sustainable change. Unlike shame, which leads to self-paralysis. Imagine if your setbacks didn't mean something was wrong. They just simply made you human. A reframe prompt might be, what would I say to a friend who felt like this? Change doesn't happen through shame. It happens through curiosity, kindness, and one brave step at a time. So, why do we fear success? So maybe you're not afraid of failing. Maybe you're actually afraid of succeeding. It sounds strange, but success often comes with risks too. Expectations, visibility, and change. And often, our brain can read all of those things as danger. Psychologists call this imposter syndrome, the fear that you'll be exposed as a fraud, even if you've earned your success. Instead of feeling proud, you feel anxious. Maybe you think, I won't be able to keep this up. What if I disappoint people? If I succeed, they'll expect more. The fear of success can equal the fear of exposure, change, and responsibility. Based on Hendrik's work, the upper limit problem suggests we each have an internal ceiling for how much happiness or success we're allowed to feel. When we go beyond that, we unconsciously sabotage to bring ourselves back down. If love, joy, and confidence didn't feel safe when we were growing up, you might unconsciously associate success with danger and rejection. So when things go well, your nervous system braces for something bad to happen. You self-sabotage, not because you don't want success, but because it doesn't feel safe to have it. A reflection prompt might be, what will I actually lose if I succeed? What parts of me don't feel safe to be seen, celebrated, or proud? It's not always fear of failure that holds us back. Sometimes it's the fear that we'll finally step into the life that we actually want, and to not know who we are without the struggle. Your nervous system isn't afraid of success. It's afraid of the unfamiliar safety. So, what self-sabotage is really trying to tell you? And how to change it? So what if I told you that self-sabotage isn't about procrastination, isn't about laziness? It's actually a message from your inner child that is still afraid. According to internal family systems theory, we all carry different inner parts. Some protect, some perform, and some hold past pain. Self-sabotage is often a protection part. It steps in when success feels unsafe, when rest feels unearned, and when connection feels like a threat. Internal family systems suggest that our mind is made up of subpersonalities, or parts. Even the ones causing disruption are trying to protect us from shame, hurt, or fear of failure. The part that procrastinates, it's afraid of failing. The part that pushes love away, it fears abandonment. And the part that overworks, over-edits, or overthinks, is afraid that just you isn't enough. So, what do? We start by listening. Instead of asking, why am I like this? Ask, what is this part trying to protect me from? What is the fear that is hiding underneath this voice? You can't fix sabotage by pushing harder. You heal by meeting yourself with safety. Rewiring with psychology. Number 1, name the fear. Ask yourself, what am I afraid might happen if I succeed? Or if I fail? 2, build psychological safety. Shame fuels sabotage, and safety soothes it. Surround yourself with people and practices that don't punish effort. And 3, use compassionate repetition. Change doesn't come from one breakthrough. It comes from showing up again and again. You don't have to be perfect, you just have to be present. Thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy this video, I have plenty more for you to pick from and listen to. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more. And if you do have any questions, please ask them down below and I'll try my very best to answer them all for you. But that's it for now. Bye.